Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I just wanted to talk to you guys about the new Morbius movie. I actually went and I saw it last night. Kind of had a rough night last night. Just a lot of, stuff going on in my life that's pretty serious and hopefully gets better, but that's not what this video is about. So anyways, it's the next day and I wanted to kind of give you guys basically an idea of like what happens in the movie. If you guys, because I mean a lot of people just aren't seeing the movie because people think it's bad. I personally, as a Marvel movie, I think it's the worst Marvel movie I've seen since Iron Man. I'm just gonna be honest. But with that said, man, like in my opinion, man, Iron Man's a great movie. I think Morbius is really good actually. I would give Morbius like a 7 out of 10. I'm kind of a little bit biased because I love Marvel so much, and I'm trusting that they know where to go with the character into the future, but right now, as it is, it kind of felt like a little slap in the face in terms of like what I expected to be getting. I almost expected more of like a Batman, like the new Batman movie, how serious and dark that was. I was almost expecting the movie similar to that in terms of how much care they put with the character, but instead they try to make a completely different film, and that's just kind of where it is, where we're at right now, and that could totally be something that they're meaning to do, and all in the end, when we see him way down the line in some crazy movie, which I'll get to, you could come back to watch this one and be like, damn, okay, this was actually like, this set him up pretty nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the plot of the story. So basically, Morbius starts off with the scene. By the way, real quick, spoilers, guys. There will be spoilers in this. But like I said, a lot of people aren't seeing the movie. So like, for the people that either haven't or want to talk about it, whatever, this will be here. Yeah. So anyways, the movie starts with him in the helicopter. Him as in Michael Morbius. He's a doctor with some blood disease. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know like all the information about it, so I don't remember what it was called. But basically, he goes like with this crew to this weird. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I'll show you. I mean, you guys have seen it in the trailer. But basically, he goes and there's a bunch of bats in this cave, and all the people that he's working with are like, "Man, we got to get out of here." And Michael is like, "No, like I think the guy like offered him money to leave early." And Michael was like, yeah, you know what, do it. And he was like, well, Michael, who are you going to use for this experiment if we're going to leave here in a minute? And he basically cuts his own hand, and it's what you see in the trailer when he puts his hand up to like, I don't know, it looks like glass. It's actually strings in the actual movie. I'm not sure how the trap works, but anyways, he gets them all to come to him or whatever, and that's just kind of how it is. We basically find out that he was experimenting with bats. So yeah, then we kind of cut to him back like in the city. He receives awards for creating, I guess he creates artificial blood, and it's like blue. He uses these throughout the movie to keep him basically as like the good guy, and he's not like actually killing people or drinking any blood, or you know what I mean. So he's basically like some crazy like guy that has this crazy disease. He's gonna die any day now, and he comes up with this crazy medical breakthrough. And yeah, so that's kind of how we get set up. And yeah, so he they kind of show, and they kind of like give into what is it? Her name is Dr. Martine Bancroft, and that's basically like who he's like in love with in the movie, his love in the movie. But yeah, she's basically like his assistant, and she's kind of like a little bit not there all the way. So when Michael does do these experiments and he's testing stuff and using it like on rats and like kind of just a little out of line, she kind of allows it, and she kind of like runs with it, so anyways, a few months down the line, Michael's like, man, like I don't got much time left, so they go out on this boat and they go like across like international waters so that there's like no evidence of any of this experimentation going on. Basically, Morbius thinks he has a cure, and he injects himself into like this room. He starts like freaking out and stuff, and on this ship, it's basically Michael Morbius, his assistant, Dr. Martine, and there's just a bunch of like these like asshole guys, I mean, people that are gonna die. You can just know by the way they're acting. You're like, yeah, these guys are assholes, like they're gonna die that way. We don't really care for them. I think this movie's done a really good job of making characters that we don't really give a shit about, and that's just like I'm just gonna be real, like watching the whole movie, I just by the way that the characters acted, I knew instantly. Like I knew the two detectives the entire movie weren't gonna, like the ones basically that find the shipwreck, Because Michael ends up actually killing all of these, you know, asshole guys anyway. The ship gets back or whatever. Michael actually jumps off the ship and like runs back to like land or whatever. He actually kills every single person on the ship except for Martine Bancroft. So when the ship does get found, Martine is like safe because he like kind of saved her a little, or like I can't remember if he saved her or if she was just like alive, but he did not hurt her at all. She just kind of got like knocked out, so she's safe. The entire ship is like all, you know, messed up, and they obviously go to her to ask her a question because she's the only one that survived. They figure out that she's working with Dr. Michael Morbius, so they eventually, you know, go on to him. She kind of doesn't really give them any like information. And then you can just tell, like, the detectives, they're kind of like dumb, but like a little bit like comical relief, so you know that they're not gonna die. Like I said, the guys on the ship, you knew instantly they were gonna die. Yeah, so once we get back, they put Michael in jail, and Michael's kind of in there, and he is actually on the artificial blood, and so he basically escapes, you know, the boat, and he, as long as he's taking artificial blood, and I think it was every 6 hours, so basically at the end of every 6 hours, his body starts to like go back to the way it was with his disease, and he's basically like dies, like he ends up basically dying. So yeah, he goes back to jail, and then we cut to a scene of him as a child. He has his mentor, I honestly can't recall his name, but basically it's like him, and he's in this like orphanage place, and he's like, you know, barely alive. This guy, his mentor is kind of like changing his blood or whatever it is, you know, to keep him alive. And we see this kid come in, and he says his name is like, starts with an L, I can't remember it, some crazy name. And instantly Michael's like, no, your name's Milo. And he's like, no, my name's not Milo. He's like, the kid that was here before me, his name was Milo. And then Michael's basically like, yeah, Milo. He's like, you're now the next Milo. And, you know, basically explains that every kid that comes to this place basically has died in front of Michael, and Michael's basically just named them all Milo as like his, you know, quote unquote friend or whatever. This time the friend actually does like stay there. Eventually what happens is Milo, you know, has some sort of like problem with his machine, and he actually was about to die, and then Michael puts like this like spring in the machine, and it just magically starts working, and Milo's saved. The mentor realizes that Michael is, you know, talented and has skills in the medical field, and basically tells him to go work. We then cut to, yeah, like I said, I guess the award thing came after, but yeah, then we basically cut to him getting this freaking award for making artificial blood. So like we just skipped this huge time jump. He's like one of the smartest people in the world basically, and that just kind of happens. So yeah, we have, you know, his childhood, we meet that kid basically. So we cut back to Morbius is in jail from killing the people on the ship. Milo, who is still alive, actually took some of the serum while Michael Morbius was in jail, and Milo went and killed a doctor, and they think it was Morbius. Once Morbius finds this out, he breaks out. Milo breaks into the prison, or I guess not breaks in, he kind of like goes in, you know, as Milo, tells him about a bunch of stuff that's been going on outside of the prison, and he said, here, like, this will get you going for a while. Leaves him a blood packet and walks out. When he walks out, though, Milo literally leaves his cane that was like helping him walk the entire time, leaves it in the cell, basically showing to Michael that, yo, he took that and he is walking around, like he is just chilling walking around, like, so he knows. So he breaks out, he finds that the doctor was killed. He goes and he chases down Milo, who is a vampire and who it just continuously kills throughout the movie. They basically, you know, fight on and on, these crazy CGI fights. People say they're trash. I mean, there's a lot of like things that happen in the movie that you can't even see. I mean, I think it was really cool. I really loved all the slow-mo stuff. There was a lot of really cool parts in it. I know it's kind of hard to see a lot, but I honestly enjoyed the movie. I'll just say that. But yeah, basically they just keep fighting, and Michael Morbius keeps going into prison, keeps breaking out, because every time he goes into prison, Milo kills someone close to him. So like, he was in prison, Milo goes to try to kill the mentor that literally was helped him as a kid, and who has still been watching Milo throughout his entire life. And obviously Morbius knows the mentor as well, so he goes and kills him. Then they go, and Morbius, I believe, is in jail, and, you know, back in jail, and then he goes to kill Martine Bancroft. He actually does kill her, like basically almost all the way kills her, whatever. And Morbius can hear it, goes, he fights, he goes basically, and all he does is he sees Martine on the ground. they like kiss, and then there's like this weird second where there's like a blood drop, and it's almost you think like Morbius like bit her, which might have happened, or the other way around. I think she might have got some of Morbius's blood, to be honest. I think that's what happened. But anyway, she like dies right there, and then with all that whole blood thing going on, you're like, well, she's gonna become a vampire. Like, she's not dead. You just know that because she didn't really have any crazy character arc at all. Like, she was just kind of there with Michael Morbius. And I know that like Michael Morbius as a character, he does have like that. I'm not sure if that was her name in the Spider-Man animated series, but he does have like a love interest basically with him all the time, and that's like his North Star, his compass. So that's kind of what keeps him going like behind the scenes. So I knew that there was going to be some kind of that, and I knew she wasn't going to die. Anyways, him and Milo fight for the last time. Milo kicks his butt, and then at the end, Morbius is literally dead, like on the ground, and then I think he like screeches out with this like echolocation or something, and basically tells the bats way back in his lab that he needs help. Basically just kind of has, it's like a shriek of pain, and then all of the bats that were in his like thing, and I'm assuming all the bats like everywhere, just go, and they all rush in, and basically all you see is his body like in the middle of this giant bat cloud, and it's just like raising up, and obviously Morbius is back alive. He's like the king of, he's the king vampire or whatever, and then he basically literally just puts his hand out and like towards Milo, and the bats basically just like eat him alive to the point where he can't get up. He's still like healing and stuff because he's a vampire, but then Michael uses using the bats, gives him a cure, kills him. It's like poisonous for both humans and vampires, or I guess not vampires but bats, and he ends up dying. So Michael basically just kind of runs away. We then see Martine Bancroft wake up, and we're like, okay, yeah, she's a vampire because she has like these red eyes. And then we start with the credits, and I'm like, wow, this movie is already over? Like, are you serious? That was the entire movie. That was the plot of the movie. And I was just like, there really wasn't anything crazy, that really went on. There wasn't really a story told. He became a vampire, and that's like, there's no like ending morality to it. Like, you just kind of like, he became a vampire. That's it. Which I don't know if if Marvel, with how like Spider-Man was, even with like Spider-Man like the Vulture with Homecoming, when he fought the Vulture, there was still like a sort of like sense of accomplishment by the end of it. You felt good with the outcome. Maybe it wasn't to like Sam Raimi's versus Doc Ock. It wasn't that epic, but there just really wasn't an ending, it felt like. But then they tried to like fix that with a post-credit scene. And basically, the first post-credit scene shows a random jail cell in the Morbius's universe, and the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, Michael Keaton, gets randomly teleported into the cell. So he's basically moved from the MCU into this universe. So I'm assuming the Vulture in the MCU is just gone, which is like kind of weird, because that kind of makes for, because like honestly, in my opinion, I don't really like the whole like technology thing with the Vulture, but it worked out. The story of the movie carried it, and that like, so it didn't really matter. I could kind of shy away from more. I was kind of hoping for more like sets of wings, and not like these giant metal thing. Like, I don't know, man. I just kind of felt like the Vulture should be more agile, more like Spider-Man, more of an original villain, because he was the original villain. But yeah, that's just kind of what I thought about it. Anyway, so yeah, Michael Keaton goes into the, the new universe or whatever here. And basically what he says is, I hope the food in this joint tastes better. That's basically like what he says at the end of the thing. We then cut again to the next post-credit scene after a few more credits, obviously. Cuts to Michael driving out into like the middle of nowhere, and we're all just thinking like, yeah, he's driving out, he wants to get away from people, that way he can like let himself loose, maybe in the desert or like in England or something, some vampire type stuff. And he ends up getting out of the car, and we see this giant green light fly across the sky, and boom, he lands. It is Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Not a completely different suit, but it is a little bit different. It is a little bit more sleek down. I think they said that like he was a resourceful guy, like Sony said that about like when they kind of talked about what happened, and like to kind of like let people know what's going on. And Michael Keaton's like, yo, I'm pretty sure I'm here because of Spider-Man, something that Spider-Man did. He basically just looks at Morbius, which has nothing to do with this dude. Never met him before. Have no idea how they exchange stuff, because I think they set Michael Keaton as a free man, his Adrian Toomes, as a free man in this new universe, because obviously he didn't have any crimes. But yeah, he goes out and like meets them in the middle of nowhere in the Vulture suit, and you're kind of like, damn, like, this is happening. And he's like, well, I'm here because of Spider-Man. I think we should, guys like us should team up and work together to fix things. And Morbius says, sounds interesting. After he's been trying to be a good guy this entire movie, has no idea. I mean, I don't know if Vulture's gonna paint this villainous picture of Spider-Man into his head. I have no idea. That's just kind of what we were left with. And yeah, like I said, man, I give this this movie a solid 7 out of 10. There was a lot of things that could have been like done better. Characters could have been changed a little bit so that I was more interested, because it was kind of hard to just seeing scenes with a bunch of people you know are gonna die and just having the movie run like that. It sets a very easy path to like go. I think that the fact that they made his best childhood friend the villain, like, I knew it from the second we saw the clips of them both, you know, having their like walkers. It's like, you're gonna have one guy go good and one guy go bad. It's like every superhero movie, you know, ever made. So I thought that they did a lot of very, very easy choices, and I'm kind of upset with Marvel for that. But like I said, I'm kind of hoping that maybe they go like a Spider-Man type route, where they kind of wake you up to him and slowly add in like more villains. I'm not really sure who Michael Morbius's real like villains are. I know that he fights Spider-Man. Other than that, I have no idea. I'll have to do more research on it. But that's just kind of my first take on the movie. This video is kind of going a little bit long, but that's basically the plot of the movie. That's the post-credit scenes, and I'm pretty sure the movie had a runtime of like 2 hours. You know, it wasn't a super long movie. It might have honestly even been shorter than that. It felt like I flew through it. It was boring, but it was fast. Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't boring, but it was just not like, even like Shang-Chi, even Eternals. I felt more of like I was almost obligated to watch it. Like, I was like, they're telling me something here. You know what I mean? You're almost like watching something out of the world, out of this world, man. And I don't know, I guess I kind of got that feeling a little bit from this movie. Like, I really did. I liked the environment. I personally loved the special effects when he was like flipping around and like flying and stuff. But in the fight scenes, yeah, without like, there was a lot of blood missing. There was a lot of like weird like fighting, like blood noises and stuff where we couldn't see on the screen. A lot of the action was covered. They could definitely do better with that. The character model for Michael Morbius was amazing. I think that Jared Leto played him amazing. I mean, with what they give him, I didn't like him as a Joker. He was amazing as Michael Morbius. I honestly love this. Like, when I saw it, that's what made me excited about it. I saw like the hair and just kind of the look of him, Jared Leto as him, and I was just like, yeah, I really think that he's gonna play this. And like I said, he did it. He absolutely knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. I don't think that it was his fault as the actor doing you know, something wrong here. So yeah, that's what I got for this movie. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Should you guys see it? In my opinion, I always go see Marvel movies, so like, you know, Marvel is just out there, man. I feel like you kind of have to. You got to give them a little bit of respect. They gave you the entire MCU, and at the time when you first started watching those initial movies, I mean, we were all kids, so we thought they were badass, but like, you really didn't know what you were watching, man. So I'm just gonna give them some time and let them kind of figure out what they're gonna do and where they're going. I'm sure they have an idea, and yeah, I'm excited for it, though. I'm definitely excited for it. I would love to see him, Michael Morbius, maybe be continued in maybe like Spider-Man's, like maybe his last movie, in his second trilogy, Tom Holland's, you know, trilogy. But yeah, man, I don't know. I have no idea. It sounds like they're gonna be bringing back a different Spider-Man, possibly Andrew Garfield, because I just think Tobey Maguire. I would love to see Tobey Maguire, but I think everybody wants to see Andrew Garfield more. So I think he might be in their universe. Yeah, that's just really all I got, man. That's my thoughts. I just kind of wanted to ramble on the topic, tell you guys the plot, tell you guys some of the things that I thought were good and bad about the movie. What do you guys think? I want a lot of comments on this video. That's all I really want to see, is a lot of comments. I want to be able to talk to you guys about this movie, because there isn't a lot of people up here where I live where I can really, like, you know, get, you know, to talk to people about it. So I want to let you, I want to holler at you guys in the comments if you guys have any questions, you guys have any information. I mean, I'm assuming you guys probably know a little bit more than I do just because I know the internet is full of crazy talented people. So I'm excited to see it, man. So yeah, drop a like on the video to help it out, get more people in there in the comments. If you got any friends or anything you went and saw the movie with, shed them to this video, you know, shed some light on the video and just kind of get them in the comments as well. I'd really appreciate that. And that is going to be the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.